Hey, this is Aubrey Bursch with Easy School Marketing. I am so excited you're here and I'm here because today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, and that is productivity, organization, and how to flow through your year. So here we're going to talk about 6 tips to flow better this year and stay organized. Tip number 1, know your flow. I just had to say that. So what is that? What do I mean? I mean that you need to know what's coming towards you, what happened last year at this time, what your goals are, what you need to reach, everything. You need to know that. And how I make that happen is through a project management software like Trello, Monday.com, all those. They're great. And so really you want to keep track of what is on your plate at any given moment so that you can be prepared. There's nothing worse than being like, oh my gosh, we forgot to send the head of school letter for X, Y, and Z that we sent last year, and we were supposed to send it 2 weeks ago. Well, it's because you didn't document last year. You didn't put it into a project management software or something similar. And so you had no idea that it was supposed to come up this year. So please go ahead and do that. That is how you're going to flow smoother and, get more done in the year. Number 2, calendar everything. Okay, I'm saying stop the to-do list. I love to-do lists. Like I will write a to-do list. I've gone through multiple notebooks, to-do lists up the wazoo. I love writing to-do lists, but they are so ineffective. And here's why. It's because you keep trying to check off everything, okay? And I want to get them all checked off or crossed off. I can't help it. I just want to do that. So here's a strategy that I think will help you. You're going to write down everything. You're going to brain dump everything in your head that you could possibly think of having to do with your marketing that you need to do. And then you're going to go through and calendar time for it on your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use. And then you're going to honor that time. This will help you flow and stay organized. You'll know when you're supposed to work on something. So you're not jumping from task to task inefficiently, not getting anything done, just little parts of things done. So say goodbye to the to-do list, start calendaring. Number 3, separate your calendar and your day into proactive and reactive. And so one of my business mentors mentioned this, and she said that, and I've always kind of done this but it was nice to give it a name. She said there's reactive and there's proactive work. So proactive work is when you're creating, okay? Think of that. That's when you're brainstorming and you're creating. It's when you're, coming up with ideas or trying to write content, okay? That's when your brain needs to be at its best, okay? Reactive work is when you are reacting to someone. That would be email. Sometimes meetings are reactive. It's something where you're kind of responding to other people's needs and then, giving them feedback and stuff like that. So it is best to schedule your proactive work in the mornings when your brain is fresh. You will get more done. If you save creating content or doing something, anything that involves high level of concentration until the afternoon, you will find that you are not as successful. So, for example, I save all my mornings for proactive work and all my afternoons for meetings, phone calls with clients and stuff like that, where I'm reacting, but I'm still able to function, but I'm not producing things myself, like writing content or copy or, figuring out the right design for an ad or something like that. That's proactive. And afternoons, that's for morning, and afternoons are reactive. So sometimes meetings can be classified as proactive. For example, when I'm leading a meeting and it needs to be a brainstorming meeting, we're going to have it in the morning. We have to, because everyone's minds are fresh. If I were to have it in the afternoon, they'd be like mush. So sometimes your meetings are proactive. I hope that's helpful. It was to me. So go through your calendar, and as you're taking your items and putting them in, say, is this a proactive or reactive task? And then schedule it accordingly. All right. Number 4. So it says plan out your month, week, and day. Obviously, you are doing this hopefully in your project management software. However, you also need to be thinking about it as, for example, I will actually, even though everything's in my Google Calendar, The week I'm working, I will go through and I will handwrite on a piece of paper everything that's coming up for my week. And that way I have it in my just in front of me. There's something about writing down what's coming up that gives it to me in my brain and that allows me to be prepared for the week. In addition, I also do that every night before I go to bed. I write down what is happening the next day. Exactly, to the T. Everything. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And that way, when I start my day, there'll obviously be surprises during the day, but I have a good sense of what's coming and I feel prepared. It helps me flow better. Now, one thing I don't see people doing is they don't write down what they're planning to eat. So that gets to lunchtime, and if you're out of school, people get hungry. And if you don't have a cafeteria in your school, you're looking at what to order, or you forgot to pack something, and so on and so forth. So much time is spent on that. If you were to plan ahead what you're eating during the day, so that when it comes to eat that, you're not scrambling and you're actually eating what you're supposed to be eating, and you're able to focus the rest of your day in your proactive and reactive modes, then everything's set. So remember, it includes everything. What are you eating? What are you doing? Are you going for a walk in the morning? So plan that out, write it down the night before, and write it down the week before. Number 5 is to batch out your meetings. I mentioned this before, but I love to do this. So when I have meetings, I like to batch them all together on one day. Or if I'm taking client calls, I'll do them in the afternoon because they're reactive work, but I'm still batching. A lot of people will just let meetings interrupt. They'll have a meeting on Monday at 9 a.m., a meeting at Tuesday at 11 a.m., a meeting at Thursday. And some of this, maybe you're working around other people's schedules. However, if you have any control over your meeting times, try to batch them on a certain day in the afternoons or take up one whole day of meetings. Sometimes when I'm visiting client sites, I will just go from 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. with meetings. And that way I've batched it all at once. I might be a little burnt out afterwards, but I've done it all at once, and then I can process those meetings the next day. And then I have the rest of the time to work with that client on those strategic initiatives. And it's worked brilliantly. So number 6 for how to flow. And this is really unconventional, I think. And not many schools use this, but so many people in other industries do. And I think one of the kind of downsides of working as a school is we kind of put ourselves in a bubble and we only really consult with other schools. We only look at what other schools are doing. So I like to look outside of what other industries are doing well, and I implement that in my business and I recommend it for my clients. So one thing that a lot of businesses are doing is hiring a virtual assistant. Now you're like, well, I'm a school. I don't need a virtual assistant. I would say, look at what you're doing and what are your $10 tasks that you could outsource. Now, a virtual assistant, the benefits are that you're not paying them a salary. You're paying them hourly by the workload. So it's much more cost effective, especially for small schools, to outsource some of their $10 an hour jobs versus, them just piling up on top of them. In addition, a lot of people say, oh, no, I'm going to outsource my social media or, something along that. And I actually say, hey, stop, hold off just a second. First, before you outsource anything, you yourself need to know how to do it. So I say, can someone else create this PDF for you? That's an easy $10 an hour VA job, okay? Yes, someone else could create that for you, okay? And especially if that's not your zone of expertise, then yeah, let's do that. But for Facebook ads and stuff like that, if you don't know how to do a Facebook ad, you cannot give that over to someone else to do because there will be you're never going to know if they're doing it right. Or when they tell you something, you're like, oh, I don't even understand what that means. Or if they say it's up, they say it's down. You need to know these things. So outsource the $10 an hour jobs and focus and get your flow and your organization around the $100 an hour jobs, which is what a social media manager type job would be, or like the creating of ads in Facebook. So that's one way that's really going to help you flow better through the year because you can outsource the things that are easy to do that you don't need to be spending your brain power on, and focus on the things that are really going to move the needle forward in your school. I hope this was helpful. Please tell me if it was at Aubrey@easyschoolmarketing.com. Or you can check me out at Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. So please, I'm giving you the action. Go to LinkedIn right now. Connect with me, Aubrey Bursch, Easy School Marketing. I hope to see you there. Take care.